And now a story inspired by Black Americans through the 20th century. A new film, Alice, showcases a form of modern-day slavery. I sat down with Keke Palmer, who plays a young woman who escapes a plantation only to wake up in 1973, the beginning of an era that brought immense cultural change.
You must have hit your head real hard. Do you know you're in Georgia? Do you know it's 1973? I can help you. This is knowledge. We spent decades trying to make a change for the people.
So, Keke, a unique twist on Alice in Wonderland. You play Alice, who manages to leave a plantation, but then steps right into 1970 and subsequent eras of all of this upheaval.
It's the woman you used to own.
Give me a sense of what attracted you to this role and kind of just flesh it out for viewers, what they can expect.
Yeah, I think like you said, we find Alice living on a plantation in what we think is the slavery era, and actually realize when she leaves the plantation that she's been in the 1970s the whole time. A lot of slaves were still in slavery after its abolishment up until the 1950s and 1960s in the South. I think we've all been kind of fatigued of what the slave stories are or could be. It's either one extreme from the other. It's extremely told from the oppressor's eyes, or it's extremely told in an almost mystical superhero, not realistic sense. So you end up being from one extremist to the other, as opposed to meeting in the middle and expressing the resilience and the faith of the Black people.
And give us a sense, because you guys were shooting this during the summer of 2020, so right in the throes of all of the unrest in our country in the wake of the death of George Floyd. And I'm just wondering that cultural explosion that we had, if that had any impact at all in the making of this.
I think totally it had impact. And even when you think about, when Trayvon Martin passed, or, everything that happened right after Obama was president, we were existing in this space of what felt, like a disillusionment of oppression as it still existed with Obama being president. And then we're reminded just how much work that was still needed to be done. It's very much so poetically expressed in the relationship between Frank and Alice in the movie.
I haven't lost my memory.
You may think
I haven't lost my memory. I know exactly who I am and where I came from.
Frank, who she meets in the 1970s, who becomes a confidant, a friend, and also someone that shows her the knowledge of who she is as Black people exist in the 1970s, while at the same time dealing with his own, understanding what activism can mean to him. He's come from the civil rights era, where he's seen Martin Luther be murdered, Malcolm X be murdered, Fred Hammond be murdered. And he's existing in a space of, does it really matter? Can I still keep going? Is there a reason why I should still feel that justice is even an option, or that freedom is something that can be lived? It's almost like a love letter to the audience as Kristen Verlinden, wrote this script, because it's a reminder of where we are all existing, which is in a constant space of oppression and trying to find the reasons and the meaning to move forward.
And lately, of course, with Ukraine, there's been so much talk about freedom and the fight for freedom. And there's one point where your character is told, you will never understand the meaning of freedom in a million years, to which you respond, I am freedom. Has playing Alice changed your idea of freedom and what it is?
Coming from Chicago, coming from the family that I come from, my family has always been honest with me about the history of my people, but they have also given me the tools to feel empowered and resilient and just powerful, just because of where we came from. There was just a great sense of, there's no shame, in me. There's always been a feeling of like, I can be who I want to be and I can exist how I want to exist. And yes, it may be difficult and not everybody will understand it, but I'm not going to let that stop me from shining. But I think the great thing about Alice and how it represents freedom is that freedom is something that you find within. It's not of the circumstances. And I think that's important, because slavery doesn't just exist in a physical form, but it exists in the mind.
I am freedom.
You've said in the past that one day you'd like to do a series on a day in the life of Black women. What do you feel that we're currently missing that you would like to portray as far as Black females on the big screen?
I just think that we just need more. I don't know if I can name every particular attribute, because I think Black women, I think the reality is that we've only just seen a few because there are not a lot of stories. Just recently, we're starting to get more of that, I think, with people like Shonda Rhimes and Kerry Washington.
You want me? me.
Viola Davis,
I'm no victim.
Issa Rae.
Issa? Is that me?
I mean, there's so many women that are out there doing their thing, but I think we can get more unique stories told of Black women, the better we're going to all be.
And lastly, from your lips to God's ears, what would you like next? That could be anything from a role you'd like to play or your directorial debut, whatever it might be for you. What do you see as next in line for you?
Next in line for me, more producing, more writing, you know, directing. I mean, just doing more things behind the camera and being in a position to offer opportunities to other people like myself. That's where I would love for the evolution of Keke Palmer to go.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.